Hello, folks. I've been working on a exciting feature, something that I think is essential for any RPG game that I wasn't necessarily going to make, and then I just couldn't help myself. And it is a map. So we have the handy travel map, and we can see this is the whole game world as it exists right now. We can zoom in, double zoom, and pan around. And unlike my previous game where the map was entirely hand drawn, this one actually is corresponding one to one for the game world, and that bobbing cursor is actually your current position. There's also a hotkey to open the map as well. And so, yeah, you can actually see exactly where you are on the whole map. And the map itself is one to one with the collision, like I mentioned. So these walls over here are exactly. I'm in that little corner right there, except for a few adjustments I made for artistic integrity. Um, I basically took the base map and I drew over it a little bit to make it look like how I wanted it to be. And since that was a little bit of an interesting process, I will show that as well. So the way that I actually generated the base of that map is I did it programmatically using this function, which goes through every single room. And now I'm stuck in this corner. It's a little just a debug thing. And it generates a sprite based on where the collision is for the water and the walls and some other things. It's not perfect. I'll show it to you now. So here is the base game map sprite that was generated by the code. And you can see it's very simplistic. It's just the walls and the grass and the water. And I basically took this as a base layer of a sprite and then drew this endgame sprite on top of that. It took a long time, so it was. I think there's two things I want to do. First of all, is just not update the map very often. Even if it gets a little bit out of date, I probably won't be able to go back and make changes super easily because of how much of it was hand drawn. But also, I think I can improve this programmatic process to give me a little bit more of the detail from the get go. Like I can put the texturing in that I added here, like on the grass and on the walls, and I can add these lines on the bottom of them and things like that. But for some of the stuff like the placement of these trees or these flower decorations where there was too much green, those are all things I'm going to have to do manually. I can't make those completely programmatic. So this was a compromise between automating it and making it look just the way I want. And I think the fact that it's hand drawn will add a lot to it in the long run because I can do things like add details of like where secrets are or where where notable landmarks are, like this circle of trees here. And just like in the last librarian, I can add those details as I wish to make the map a little bit more interesting to look at. And then the last thing I'll mention is these icons here for mini bosses and bosses, and changing altars and shops. And then the Temple of Light I marked with its own icon as well. I'm still thinking about other things I could mark, and knowing that I can have a cursor that or something that shows a dynamic position like this, I could add support for those more generally, and have some things like the locations of wandering NPCs or the where treasure chests have spawned and stuff like that in the long run. So I'm sure this map will be updated with a lot more features than it has right now, but this is just a base just to get started with, and this is what I'm going to ship the first playable version of the game with, so that at least it's available. Oh, and then finally, you won't just have this map from the get-go. You'll have to purchase the segments from each NPC from an NPC that travels between the different places. Just like in the last librarian, you'll get this chunk first, and then this chunk, and then this chunk. And each new area will be in addition to your previous map. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm really excited about that, and have a nice day.